you've seen over the course of the last 2 weeks, you've seen a lot of improvement. You've probably seen some things that we need to continue to work on. And, really that's the theme of the year. It's going to be the theme, towards the end of the season as well, that, we're just continuing to try to get better. And, I think for the position group that I'm working with and responsible for, I think you're probably seeing some growth and improvement there as well. And, I welcome, any questions that you guys may have in regards to the program, the team, or, specific to the linebacker position. But again, thank you for being with us. And, we really enjoy this opportunity.
All right, Seth, we'll go right into questions. The first question will be from Chad Leistico.
Hey, Seth. Thanks for doing this. Hope you're well. With the way you guys, could you describe kind of the way you guys teach defense on the defensive line? There's some, I guess, concern out there, that you only have 1 sack through 2 games, but I know that's not necessarily, what you guys emphasize the most. So kind of describe maybe, how you would explain that.
Yeah, I think the first thing that you've got to look at is, I do think you have to take into consideration the 2 opponents that we've played. Both of those, both teams were dealing with younger quarterbacks. Obviously the beginning of the season is not necessarily the time in which you want to get into a whole lot of your offense and even more specifically your drop back pass game. So the ball's coming out a lot quicker. I think that's probably where you want to start. And then, with the way that we're built defensively, we start by, trying to defend the run before we ultimately start defending the pass. And, just the way that we play our defensive line or our front 7, we're real heavy in regards to our alignments and how we play our techniques up front. So, some of that is, some of that's more, really more to do with the opponent, but also, with kind of how we're built. And we've, I'll be real honest with you, we've got to do a better job of getting our opponent into off-scheduled second downs and then your 3rd and 7 or greater. And that's usually when you'll start to see, a little bit more pressure on the quarterback. But, it's not a huge concern of ours. Obviously we'd like to get the quarterback on the ground a little bit more, but I think right now it's just a matter of us continuing to do what we're doing and, maybe do a little bit better job on 1st and 2nd down to allow those opportunities to present themselves.
Seth, next question is from Scott Docterman.
Seth, good to see you. I hope you're well. I wanted to ask you about Nick Jackson and how he's worked his way into the defense. I'm sure the verbiage is a challenge for him, probably more than actually going out and playing, but kind of what's your assessment of him through 2 games and what's his growth potential over the next couple of weeks when he gets more familiar with your defense?
Yeah, I think, Scott, it's a good question. And, here's where Nick is very fortunate. You talk about verbiage. He's had, I think now this is his 4th defense that he's worked with, his 4th defensive coordinator. So he's got plenty of verbiage. It's just a matter of trying to figure out, what in the past is, paralleled to what we do here. And I think what you're going to continue to see is you're just going to continue to see gradual improvement from week in and week out. Right now, I don't want to say he's drinking out of a fire hose because he certainly isn't, because there's a lot of football that he's had and played in the past. But trying to marry some of the stuff from the past to the present is it's not a challenge. It's just a work in progress. And, I'm anxious to see each and every day, come and pass and see the improvement that, not only that he is experiencing, but also Jay Higgins and the other guys that, might haven't taken the field yet, but, all those guys are young in their own ways and, or inexperienced in regards to our defense or the brand of football that we're playing against.
Our next question is from David Eichholt.
Seth, appreciate you taking the time. Good to see you. A little bit of an unconventional first couple of weeks for the Iowa linebacker room, just with teams utilizing the quick passing. I'm sure Nick Jackson's tired of going back in coverage, but how valuable are those pass reps and him dropping back into coverage? How valuable is that going to be going forward through the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think that the more diversity that we see at the beginning of the year in regards to our opponent, and what they're doing offensively is only going to provide us with a better foundation for, the middle of the season. And then, obviously the back third of the season. But, what we've seen is we have seen some parallels. I think, we shared with our guys beginning of this week that Western Michigan is going to be a blend of our last two opponents in a lot of ways. There's going to be some tempo. There's going to be some, tight end usage that we saw out of Iowa State that we didn't see out of Utah State. There's going to be the spread element. And again, the tempo that we saw out of Utah State that we didn't necessarily see out of Iowa State. So just the more of that we continue to get, it's going to be better for us defensively in the long run, because it just provides a stronger foundation to what we're doing defensively.
Next question is from Mitch Fick.
Hey, Seth, such a big moment for Ethan Hurkett on Saturday. 2 years ago this week is when he gets knocked out against Kent State, loses the rest of his freshman year. Just what have you seen from him? I know Jay told me yesterday, Herc's kind of the guy you point to for everybody else of like, that's how you go about your business. Just what have you seen from Ethan as he's grown into the two deeps and really a more prominent role?
Yeah, Mitch, I do appreciate your tweet yesterday. It was good that I think you got to the bottom of it in regards to, how things finished in Ames on Saturday with Ethan on top of the ball, and then, asking his teammates, and his teammates were graciously crediting, the way that Ethan goes about his business. And, Ethan, Quinn Schulte, Jackson Rexroth, they all come from the same fabric. They all come from the same background. They all come from Coach Schulte's program up there at Xavier. And, so they haven't had any, I guess their learning curve has not been, what it might be for some other programs that maybe exist further away where players aren't as familiar with us. So when Ethan got here, we knew what it was going to look like down the road. It was just a matter of time. And then obviously the injury that came about, kind of, sidelined that or put it on delay for a little bit. But, I think what we see each and every day in the way that Ethan goes about his business, whether it be on the field or off the field, is really in a first-class manner, and something that I think our young guys, as I mentioned to the linebackers, if we can just pay real close attention to the way that he does things, I think we'd all be better because of it.
Next question is from John Steppe.
Hey, Seth, great to see you. With Jay Higgins and his adjustment to Mike linebacker, obviously a lot of pre-snap responsibilities at that position. How have you seen him kind of adjust to that new role?
I think I said this at media day, and I tried not to get too far in front of my skis because I wasn't sure what it was going to look like once Jay did take the field, and we're 2 games into it, so I'm very cautious of saying too much here. But I think what you're seeing, first off, the credit does need to be given to Jay Higgins. But I think a lot of credit has to be given to that room and the guys that have come before him, and the brand of linebacker play that, has been played here, during the history of Coach Ferentz's time. But, here more recently with some of those guys, that Jay has attached himself to, and Jack Campbell and Seth Benson. I know that the both of them reached out to Jay after the game on Saturday. Jay looked up to both of those guys in so many levels, and paid attention and tried to emulate and replicate. And, now we're starting to see that. Again, there's a lot ahead of us right now, but Jay's done a really good job, both on and off the field in regards to the football as well as the leadership.
Next question is from Tyler Tachman.
Hey, Coach. Hope you're doing well. Jay Higgins was talking about yesterday. He had heard stories about what Sebastian Castro used to do on scout team. Do you just have any memories of kind of the early days of Sebastian and kind of what he used to do on scout team?
Yeah, and Tyler, I apologize. I walked past you 2 or 3 times the other day on the side. I didn't know who the heck I was looking at, and I'm like, gosh, this guy look. But anyway, I apologize for not stopping by and saying hello. But I do appreciate you were out there before anybody else. They must have been in traffic. But anyway, in regards to Sebastian, the one thing that Sebastian does is he goes hard and he goes fast. As soon as he diagnoses, what is exactly going on. And I would rewind that clock if you wanted to look like it, if you wanted a visual of what that looked like when he first got here. There was no diagnosing. There was no, it was just, he went and, you know, usually was headed in the wrong direction. But he was going. So, you know, the reps, the practice, the time, the experience has all given him an opportunity to diagnose things. And what we're still seeing is that suddenness, the violence. You know, he's an unbelievable tackler. Like, he will find a way to get the ball carrier down. You know, I can't say enough about Sebastian, the way that he's taken on the role of you know, being our cash player right now.